Hey guys, what's going on? Inception here and welcome to another video. Today we are going to be talking about a lot of different things. We're going to be answering questions as I used to do back then and then we stopped doing recently because of all the content that I've been putting out with analyzing gameplay and all that kind of stuff. So we are going to get started with the question of the title of the video, which is it worth getting Maldini or a prime Maldini, a prime Ronaldo, and a prime Gullit? So the only one that I genuinely think is not really worth getting is the prime Gullit. Reason being is because if I pull up his stats right now, I'm going to go ahead and compare him, which I don't really know how to do. Oh, there you go. So I didn't know how to do on Footbin. I'm going to open up his stats right here, right? And I'm just going to compare the card stats. So we're not going to look at the base card stats. We have to look at the specifics, okay? So if you look at Ruud Gullit's card, from a card that you cannot sell, that is an untradeable version of his card, because we're talking about a card that is, the comparison between the two is 2.08 million coins and 4.5 million coins. So we're going to go ahead and look at the difference between the two, right? Is it worth spending the extra 2.5 mil? My answer to that would be no. We're going to look at the specifics now, right? With the shooting stats, the base card for the second last version of Gullit is 88 and his prime is 91. Now listen to the specifics, okay? 88 positioning versus 94 positioning. That's not significant enough for you to pay that much. 87 finishing compared to 89. That's like getting an inform. Shot power 92 to 96. Not bad. Long shots 89 to 94. Not bad. Volleys 85. You don't really volley that much, so we're going to ignore volleys. Penalties 83 to 85. So right off the bat, with the shooting attributes, it's not worth upgrading. With the pace attributes, you have +2 acceleration and +2 sprint speed with the second last version of Gullit's card. Now we're going to look at the passing stats, okay? The reason why, guys, it's almost irrelevant to upgrade the second last version of Gullit to the prime version of Gullit unless you are rich in this game. If you're rich, do it, you know? But if you're not, it's not really worth the 2 million coins. So if your stats are in the mid 80s or high 80s or low 90s, you will not notice the difference between those stats in game, right? Will there be a difference? Yes. Is it significant enough for you to spend another 2 million coins? No. Vision 87 versus 92. You won't really notice it that much. Crossing 86 versus 88's crossing. Won't notice it that much. It's insignificant with a +2. Free kick accuracy from 88 to 92, insignificant. 87 short passes to 92. It's insignificant because of the 2 million coin difference. So you guys need to understand when I'm like saying that, is it worth it for the price? It's not because of those specific stats. Long passing 92 to 94 long passing, 86 curve to 89 curve. So far there hasn't been any significant stat boost. We're going to look at the traits as well, just in case that they're different, right? Agility on the second last version of the card is 82 agility with 82 balance, while also being a really good height. I don't remember exactly what his height is because it doesn't show right away over here in the comparison, but just going off of that. Reactions of the prime Gullit is 95, so that is a significant difference from 88 to 95. But again, not worth the 2 million coins that you're going to be spending. You can buy Ronaldo with that money, right? Dribbling 86, like I can go on and on, guys. The composure is not a significant difference. It's like paying for a first inform version of the second last version of Gullit's card. We're talking about the 90 rated card, right? It's just not worth doing. Even defensive stat wise, look at the increases. Interceptions +2, heading accuracy +3, which is already super high, so it doesn't matter. Marking +2, standing tackle +2, and sliding tackle +2. So again, not very significant stat boosts, right? His strength, his physical capabilities are already very good. 82 jumping, 86 jumping is definitely better with the prime for sure. Is the prime version a better card than the second last? Yeah, probably, because the +2 and the +2 on the acceleration and sprint speed in comparison to the other stats that are way better than the second last version. Yes, absolutely. Is it a better card? Yes. Is it worth getting? I just don't think it is, right? With this with the physicality, it's just not significant enough between the 90 version of his card and the 93 version of the card. Next card we're going to be checking is the Maldini. Now, the Maldini, that is a different situation, ladies and gentlemen, okay? Let's look at the... We're going to be looking at the 92 version of his card versus the prime version of Maldini. Here's the thing about Maldini's card, okay? You have a player, right, that has 85 acceleration with 86 sprint speed. But get this, he's not in the 50s in the balance or the agility. He has 65 agility with 69 balance. That is very, very good for a center back. Medium high work rates, 4-star weak foot. He can actually pass the ball with short passes, 87 short passes and 79 long passes. So if you ever catch your center back pushing out wide and you want to do that wide pass in between or just in behind someone's attack, you can do that. Defensive stats, it's just ridiculous. He's literally in the mid-90s for every defensive stats. 96 interceptions, 93 heading accuracy, 95 marking. Like, you literally cannot get better defensive stats with physical capabilities. Having 85 acceleration with 86 sprint speed, as well as 79 aggression, moving left and right with 65 agility for 69 balance with a center back is absolutely insane. He's going to do work for you in the defensive area, especially since he's medium high work rate. So if you put this Maldini card in your team, you're just gonna love him, right? 84 jumping with 6'1" isn't crazy good, but it's not bad because he's so strong and big in game. Because the thing that I always explain to people, right, is that with the icon players, the EA have made these players physically bigger in game, right? So if you notice with the icons, they don't really have the physical stature of let's just say someone like Neymar. They actually made them stocky in game to make them significantly better than most players. Now, the 94 version of Maldini is 2.8 million coins. If I look at the 92 Maldini, we're talking again about stat boosts that aren't increasingly significant, but a little bit significant. So here's the deal, right? Defensively and physically, you won't notice the difference between a 92 version of Maldini and the 94 version of Maldini. But here's the kicker of basically the first in-form upgrade from the second last version to the best version of his card, okay? Here's the kicker. His acceleration is increased by 3 and his sprint speed is increased by 4. You will 100% notice that on a center back. On a center back, you will notice that because moving left and right and chasing after someone is very important. And those stat boosts in acceleration and sprint speed, you will notice. The agility is +4 from the prime and a +5 on the balance. That is a huge deal for him to, again, move left and right smoothly. So, is it worth the money? Probably not. 1 million coins versus 2.8 million, that's another 1.8. You can buy Ronaldo. I will always make Ronaldo that guy because Ronaldo's just that game-changing player. Is it worth getting? No. Is it significantly better? Yes, way more. It's way better than switching from the second last version of Gullit to the best version of Gullit, because you just won't notice those significant stat increase, or not significant because it's very minuscule, right? It's not even in the 4s and 5s from the upgrades, right? It's in the 2s and 3s. When it's the 2s and 3s, it's like you won't notice it if it's already in the mid 80s, right? Like I was explaining earlier. Last but not least, the Ronaldo card. I don't even think I need to look at the card because I played one game with the prime version of Ronaldo, and it was the loan version of his card. And I'll tell you guys something right now. Oh my God. You're literally using a cheat code. That's what he is. He's actually a cheat code in the game because he's so big with a 5-star weak foot, with 97 acceleration, 97 sprint speed, 91 agility, 85 balance, which is great because he's 6 foot, with 85 strength, 93. Like I don't even want to continue reading because I literally feel disgusted with how beautiful this card is, right? It's such a significant difference. Now, again, is it worth the difference from the 94 to the 96? Personally, I would say yes again, because the significant stat increases in pace being +3 acceleration and +4 sprint speed. Again, it's kind of like a first inform or a second inform version of the card. Is it worth the significant step of going from 15 million coins essentially to to a 3 million coin player, maybe not so much. But the things that are the most noticeable with these cards is always acceleration, sprint speed, agility, and balance together. If you have both of those things together, as well as good traits on the card, that's what makes them significantly better than most players in the game. He has the dribbler as a speciality, speedster as a speciality, distance shooter, so you can pop in long shots with him with 90 long shots and 93 shot power. That's really nice to have. He tries to defeat to be the defensive line, so if you tell him to get in behind, press the back line, he'll do that fantastically. He'll hit those 90-degree angle finesse shots, or not even, he won't even need a 90-degree angle finesse shot from outside the box. He can probably hit them from like facing literally away from goal, turning around and still being able to do it. I played against the Prime R9, I think the other day, and he literally took a long shot on the spot, no momentum, and it didn't go into the back of the net, but the power and accuracy of the shot was disgusting with the card, right? 82 jumping while being 6 foot, doesn't even show around. I know he's 6 foot something though. I know he's not short because in game he's huge. I'm just gonna go ahead and check his in-game height. Yeah, he's actually 6 foot. He's exactly 6 foot. Medium work rate's not bad at all to have. He actually has decent passing stats, not amazing passing stats. He's no... I still think Team of the Year Ronaldo is just disgusting, but I think Team of the Year Ronaldo with a Prime Ronaldo would just be like... It just wouldn't be allowed. It would be like literally against the law, right? Again, is it worth the upgrade from the 94 to the 96? Debatable, right? You have a player that's 3 million coins in the 94, and then you have someone who's 15 mil. If you're really meta-oriented, yes, the upgrade is worth it because, again, like Maldini, there's stat boosts that are significant to stuff that you will actually notice in-game, right? So, honestly, is it worth spending 50 million coins on him? If you're rich, sure. If you're not, just stick with the 94. The 94 is still going to be an incredible card to use in your team. But that's pretty much going to conclude the review for Gullit, Maldini, and Ronaldo. So the ones that I do think are worth getting are Maldini and Ronaldo. The ones that I don't think is worth getting is the Ruud Gullit, because the second last version of Ruud Gullit's card is already pretty incredible. But in all fairness, the stat increases in defense a little bit, like the 2s and 3s. It definitely kind of pushes you in that direction. But is it worth paying that much for it? I don't think it's worth paying that much for any of them. But I think the upgrade is worth it with Maldini and Ronaldo, if you guys get what I'm saying. It's actually like, there's a difference between actually noticing the difference between the two cards and then not noticing the difference between the two cards. So we're going to go ahead and answer the questions from the YouTube comment section because that's how I normally do my videos with all this jazz. So the first question or statement that people are asking is, what's wrong with Fernandes? He does great for me and he is very difficult to replace with other center backs. I've tried many. So if you guys don't know which Fernandes he's talking about the center back Fernandes card. So the Nacho Fernandes, right? I don't remember which version of Nacho Fernandes this guy had in his team, but Nacho Fernandes, I think it's Nacho Fernandes. I can't remember exactly what his name is, but the thing about this card is that it's a great card. Don't get me wrong, it's fantastic. But the thing is, right, is that when you're 5'10 against, and I wasn't saying that the card itself is bad. I was saying it in comparison to if you play FUT Champs and you want to be really meta-oriented, right, and you're trying to really win your matches, he's not going to be ideal in your team because he's going to get destroyed by most people in the air. Now, is he terrible in the air? No, but if you come up against those people who have Thierry Henry, Ronaldo, any of those types of players, it's going to be incredibly tough to defend against them because Fernandes just isn't that type of player like Eric Bailly or, you know, a Maldini card or a Laurent Blanc card, and the center back Laurent Blanc card, to be able to defend against those guys. Generally speaking, though, Fernandes looks like a fantastic card. Absolutely. I think he's Division 1 worthy, to say the least, because if you actually look at his card, 73 acceleration with 82 sprint speed isn't terrible. In comparison with 63 agility and 72 balance, right? So the 72 balance is nice because he's 5'10 as a center back. Because center backs in general, they feel this way, right? That's how EA kind of goes about these things with these players. But it's very nice to have these stats with a player that has decent defensive stats with 84 interceptions, 82 heading accuracy, 84 marking, 85 sign tackle. Like, these stats are good stats, right? You have stamina at 82, which is nice for a center back. Like, he's never going to get tired to, you know, because sometimes your center backs push forward on the, you know, like the corners when your center backs push forward. If he pushes forward, he won't be tired when he's coming back, so he'll still be full of life. So, is the card good? Yes. Is it good enough? Is it good enough against these Team of the Year Ronaldos and stuff? No, absolutely not. He'll get destroyed every single time. Again, in that video, when I analyzed that video, it was only in comparison to the squad that guy had, not because Fernandez itself is a bad card. It's just the balance between them. Yo, Inception, I have an offline tournament coming up and haven't made my mind in terms of what team to pick. France, United, or Real Madrid? France, United, or Real Madrid. Each team has pros and cons, but I don't know what to pick. What would you say? Thank you, and great video, by the way. The thing that I would say is that it really depends on what playstyle you're going to rock with. I think in general, it's hard to say. I don't know if I would really choose Real Madrid, because you're right. A lot of those teams have pros and cons. I think the most balanced team would probably be Man United, because you have a lot to work with that club. France, kind of the same thing. Their left back sucks, I think. I don't know if they have Mendy in it. If Mendy was in it, Mendy would be at least decent. Not amazing, but he would be decent. Right back, they have... I don't even know who their right back is. Sidibe. Sidibe is not bad. Center backs, there's Koscielny. They might have Laporte in there. I'm not really sure who their center backs are in the game. Midfielders-wise, they have a plethora of midfielders. I don't even have to mention them. Conte, Matuidi, Pogba, lol. Real Madrid is very, like... The thing about Real Madrid, like why you would choose Real Madrid, is because of Ronaldo. Because Ronaldo is such a game changer to anybody's team, right? It's tough to say, man. I think with Real Madrid, you have a solid back four. Your midfield is okay because you have like Casemiro, you have Modric. You could use Toni Kroos. A good player I know, Goal Machine, used Toni Kroos in the beginning of the game, and not beginning, but like in the mid stages, kind of like just before mid stages, he was using Toni Kroos because he really liked his long shots and his positioning was really good for him. But I wouldn't necessarily want to use a Toni Kroos. You can use Gareth Bale and Ronaldo, but then your Cam, if you had a 4-1-2-2, you really wouldn't have much to work with, in my opinion, with Real Madrid. So I think with Man United, it's nice because you have Rashford, Martial, Matic, Herrera, Mkhitaryan, right? So like you can rotate the team a lot between a 4-2-3-1, a 4-1-2-2 bracket 2. A lot of rotation that could be done with your squad with that. So that's what I would say to that, man. Footbin has the wrong heights. Arnautovic is 6'4". Ah, okay. So they have the wrong heights. They should correct that though, because the height is incredibly important. Like whether or not a player will be good or bad, right? So with Arnautovic being 6'4", in regards to that video that I reviewed him in, the heights that he has, 6'4" with the agility and balance isn't great, but everything else he's fantastic at. Who do I think will win the World Cup? I think that on paper, I would say that it would probably be France, because France have such a good team, it's ridiculous. It's France, Belgium, Germany are usually a pretty close-knit team, Brazil. If I was going to decide who is going to win the World Cup, though, I would probably pick France. I think France would be the one that would win the World Cup. Because I don't know if you guys have seen one of their recent games, but they play really well. They have quality in every position of their team. So I would probably go with France for that one. Randomly stumbled on one of your analysis videos and instantly subscribed. You make incredible content, and I'm definitely working on improving my gameplay. Currently Division 2, Gold 1, and Weekend League. Dude, that's awesome that you stumble across the content, man. I'm glad that the videos can help you out. I'm glad that you like the YouTube channel. It's kind of cool with the YouTube channel right now because there's still consistent growth, but FIFA itself isn't really something that people are interested in watching that much, but somewhat still are, you know? It's very hard to come up with content on FIFA, which is why my titles always revolve around what I talk about in the beginning, but then I talk about other things in the video as well, because it just kind of makes sense to do, you know? But that's awesome, dude. Gold 1 is very good in the Weekend League. If you're Gold 1, I'm surprised you're not in Division 1 yet, because the difference between Gold 1 and Elite 1 in FIFA is very, very small. It's not like other games where if you're like a Gold Nova, I don't know what the ranks are nowadays. Like if you're a Gold Nova and a Global Elite player, it's a huge difference between the two, right? So yeah. What is your take on Birthday 81 Koyate? Have more in-game stats than 891 Desai, yet he is 1 million coins less. Do not ever look at in-game stats pluses. Always look at specifics as to why he may or may not be a good player. When I looked up Koyate, and this is going to be, I think, the 3rd time I'm mentioning, which isn't a problem for me because you can't watch the entire videos at times, right? My problem with Koyate is the balance and agility, right? The balance being 58 could present to be a problem a little bit, but is it worth trying out? Yes, because his pace is very good, and his defensive stats are actually decent, not crazy good, but they're decent enough for him to perform at a decent level. I still think that even with this card, Eric Bailly would still shit all over it. Because Eric Bailly's card is literally on the level of an icon in this game. That's how good he actually is, because he has all the right stats to make him good. Defensive stats, he has the pace, he's got the physical, just a fantastic card in general, right? But yeah, that's what I would say about Koyate. What do you think about OTW Batshuayi? Batshuayi is an interesting one because Batshuayi actually looks like a card that would play really nicely in game. And I mentioned this before to people because he has 88 agility with 88 balance. His acceleration and sprint speed isn't crazy, but that's literally all you need for your dribbling to be that great. If you look at his traits, it says that he's selfish. I don't know what selfish means, in all fairness, but specialities is he's an aerial threat, which is beautiful because he has 93 jumping with 99 heading accuracy. He's got the strength. He's got clinical finisher. So I guess like when he gets in front of the goal, he's probably like a god at finishing into the back of the net. I don't know. I wish I knew the difference. Like the thing about FIFA that we never really understand is what do traits have in common with specific stats in this game? Like what does it have in common with the shooting, the pace, the dribbling? Like no one really knows, right? Like if you have technical dribbler, what does that do to your dribbling stats if you have technical dribbler? Because some players have good specific stats. Like when I say specific, I mean like all the by itself, right? Like where their dribbling is 85, 87 ball control, but some players have those same stats, but they actually have the speciality or the trait to make them that good. So who knows if it makes these stats significantly better or significantly worse. I don't even know what Poacher does, because you don't know if Poacher actually makes your player position himself worse or better under situations. Like, does a Poacher mean that if you take a shot and the goalie decides to parry it to the side, will he be in a better position to hit that into the back of the net? We don't know, because there's also a positioning stat in this game, because Batshuayi has 94 positioning. So, in all fairness, we don't really know what the difference would be between the cards in that aspect. Nice editing in the end. Haha, cool video. Can 85 Paulinho replace my 83 Alan at CDM? I think Paulinho might be high work rates. I could be wrong. Let me see what Paulinho's work rates are. So Paulinho's high work rates. So if you use Paulinho as a CDM, you have to be careful with him because he will attack. He will push forward. And it's not necessarily a bad thing to push out a Paulinho, like as a CDM, because he'll probably be around like the semicircle area, depending on the tactics and instructions that you have on your players, which isn't bad because he does have 80 finishing with 88 shot power and 85 long shots. So him attacking wouldn't necessarily be a bad thing, but it would definitely be worth trying out. 5'10 height with 91 jumping, so in the middle he'll actually win the ball sometimes, which is pretty nice, right? Can't go wrong, man. It's definitely worth a shot. And as a CDM, having 89 short passes with 84 long passes would definitely be worth trying out in your squad if you're using him as a lone CDM in a 4-1-2-2 or something, right? Definitely would be worth trying out in your team for sure. In one of your videos, you recommended keeping chance creation unorganized, and it was a big game changer for me keeping the team's shape defensively. It's interesting you didn't mention it here. I do realize this is a bit old, though. Oh, he's talking about my 4-2-3-1 instructions video. Yeah, so with FIFA, things change constantly, right? Like the way that you see the game is always different. So organized and freeform is very situational to the opponent that you're facing, right? So if you're using freeform, it's nice to have when your fullbacks attack because it gives them that freedom to actually push forward rather than them being unorganized where they have to stay in their position and whatnot. Because when you have freeform, and your fullbacks want to push forward, you still have your midfielders to occupy the space of the fullback. So it's incredibly nice to have for sure. Gullit is a monster, highly recommended. Dude, if Gullit plays really good, or Gullit, I don't know how to say his name, I'm sorry. If he plays really good for you, then by all means, give him a shot. I mentioned in the Team of the Week video that he is the type of player that you have to try out and see if he's good or not, right? He's not the type of player that is guaranteed to be good. Like when you look at Ronaldinho's prime card, you're guaranteed for him to be good. If you're looking at prime Ronaldo, you're guaranteed for him to be good. Like it's very rare that you get these types of players and they're significantly poorer than other players, right? So that's what I would say to that. Really enjoying these game analysis of gameplays. Maybe you could do a video demonstrating when to second man press. And also, I sent you an email a month or so ago requesting a game on PlayStation. Hopefully, you can get back. I don't play against people through requests, man. I only play people just by playing the game. Like if I'm like if you watch a Fortnite streamer, like they don't like play with their viewers or whatnot. They just hop into a game and just play from there. That's kind of like how I do my streams, and I've always done it like that. I never really did friendlies against anybody. Back in the day, even when people wanted to, I still wouldn't do it because I would just prefer not to do it. So yeah. What chem style would you use on my center mids Blanc 85, Alaba birthday, and Goretzka inform? Goretzka, I would on all those cards. I'm pretty certain I would use Shadow because the main focal point of a 4-1-2-2 is in the middle is to have players who are good defensively because those AI blocks literally save your life in terms of whether or not you win or concede goals or lose games. Those stats are what help you in this game. Like because again, defensive AI is so overpowered. If defensive AI wasn't so overpowered from the gameplay patch that they made, then maybe using players like a Leroy Sané or something in the center mid would probably be more preferable to have. But because defensive AI is significantly better than it was before, it's definitely worth doing all that instead. I still don't understand why agility and balance matter on my defenders. What's the point? I think there's a reason those are in the dribbling, not the pace department. Would love an explanation. So the person replying to this guy actually made a good response. He says, sometimes when you're being attacked, some players have really good agility and balance, and they can weave from side to side really easily and change directions as well. Plus, the balance makes them harder to knock off the ball. That said, if your defender doesn't have enough of those two stats, it can have a hard time following and covering the attack. Exactly, right? If your player has poor balance, it's easier for the attacker to get the ball off of the player. If your player has poor agility and balance as well as acceleration and sprint speed altogether, it'll be worse for your player to move left and right smoothly to predict a person's movement. Even though if your gameplay is poor, your players will slide all over the place regardless. Like, here's the thing. Everything always depends on gameplay, right? Like, I know how to defend in FIFA, but sometimes when I'm going up and then I want to go down, depending on if the gameplay feels good or not, which most of the times it feels pretty bad, your player actually slides upwards as you want to go downwards. So there's not, when it's smooth, when the gameplay is good and when it's smooth, they move left and right very smoothly. But if they don't do that, I don't really blame you that much, right? People don't really outplay you when gameplay is bad because you're not really able to control your defenders to the best of your ability. You have to really try, you're basically like steering a ship when it comes to holding your defenders if your gameplay is bad, right? So that's what I would say in regards to the agility and balance. Is it important on cards? Yes, I would say it's very important on cards in order for certain cards to perform well and to not perform well. Iniesta will be unusable because foot foot's bad. Yeah, that's usually how the players are in general in FIFA that don't have any defensive or physical stats that are actual midfielders. They usually they're just not very good to have as a midfielder. But like if you like Iniesta in real life, then you would use him. But other than that, you're really putting yourself at a disadvantage from all that. I effing love this. Need to remind you so you don't feel like you're being. I effing love this. Need to remind you so you don't feel like you're being repetitive. Also, you can tell this is shit gameplay by just looking at it. The passing distance is terrible. Yeah, he's talking about the gameplay of the guy that has like the for birthday Ronaldo inform Valencia. You could tell because the speed of the game looks slower, right? You could tell like when the passing distance between the player is really bad too. So I'm glad that you guys noticed the difference between when it's bad and when it's good. That's actually really good that you guys can see it. He might be a dude from Foot Champs that plays often. Haha, you think he has Gullit, Ronaldo, Vieira, Ronaldinho? I'm sure it's his first time qualifying, mate. Or he could just spend a lot of money on the game. Some people don't play. Some people who play Foot Champs all the time don't even have a squad like that. So when I say stuff like that, the guy could be the type of dude that just. There's a lot of people that have really good squads that don't play Foot Champs. There's a ton of people because they just want to. It's the type of guys that like to spend money on the game. They're not very good at the game, but they like to have the good players, right? So yeah, it's definitely a possibility that the guy didn't get it through playing Foot Champs. Like he could have just gotten it from, just basically buying them with actual money, right? So yeah. You're great, man. Can I send my own gameplay? I'm not so good. I'm struggling in Division 3. Can I? So the analysis videos, I might do one if someone gives me like a gold 2, gold 1 area type of gameplay, because then there's a lot to talk about when you're in that general area. But I don't know if I'm oversaturating the analysis of the gameplay thing, because it's the only reason why it's oversaturated right now is because I don't really know what videos to do nowadays. Like it's very tough to come up with different content all the time because FIFA doesn't really come up with things for you. So very tough to say like which types of content I'm going to produce. I have to kind of be creative with it and try to come up with different things because creativity people don't really care about. Everything on my channel is very meta oriented. Like you guys can see the difference of the video that I analyze the pro player gameplay, and then you could check out the video of the other ones, and it just didn't do as well, right? Because there's an algorithm with YouTube and my channel where it's like that's the type of content that people want to see the most. So what I was actually thinking of doing for the YouTube channel is I was thinking of recording a full game of someone's Foot Champs game and what I would do from that, like the best players in the world. Because the best players in the world, they always have like this different game style as to how they're going to play, right? So I think it would be interesting to analyze their game styles maybe, and then putting that into a video. Is very, very hard to say. Very hard to say in this situation, Hello, man. I like the way you analyze your vids in depth. Keep up the great work. Can you explain us your starting mentality and your opinion about it? Have a nice day. Can you explain us your starting mentality? My starting mentality is I just start it normally. I don't really look for anything. Like when I do the kickoff, I always push out to the sides first. I see if I can exploit the fullback area. If I can't, I work my way into the middle until I can open up space on the sides. Like I just play normally. I don't push the sides or the fullback area because the new kickoff is like the whole thing where like the defensive fullbacks always push up and the attacking players can exploit that space. It's not because of that. Every FIFA I've always played, I always pass the ball in the middle and then I pass it off to the sides and then I try to push them to my area and then I push to the middle and just exploit the areas that way, right? I've always played FIFA that way. It's just the way that I've kind of seen it. Is it worth upgrading De Gea for Farman? Absolutely. De Gea is way better than Farman, but Farman and De Gea are the only goalies you should probably be using in your team. Those two goalies, they're just so overpowered because of that leg save trait. That leg save trait makes the biggest difference in anybody's team. So yes, 100% get De Gea. A goalie that has good stats as well as that leg save trait is a goalie that's worth getting. That's why the icon goalies aren't very good goalies in this game, because they don't have that leg save trait. You barely ever see anybody use Van der Sar, Yashin, Schmeichel. No one ever uses these guys because they don't have that leg save trait. They're not good enough for the price that you're paying for, right? People should pay you for this great understanding of the game. The thing about like me analyzing people's games is that like I wouldn't mind making it into you, like if I do more of them, it's kind of like more based off of thing if they really want to pay me to do it and whatnot. But at the same time, like I thought of it like this, right? I put advertisements in my videos. If people watch the advertisements of the videos, that's your way of paying for me, you know what I'm saying? So I don't need to be paid like 30-40 bucks. Like I think that's what people usually charge to review gameplay nowadays. I don't need to charge that much to be able to do a video about it because I get paid through the video itself. So that's the way that I see it. I don't necessarily need for people to pay me for me to review their gameplay, because maybe in the future, sure. I don't really know. It really depends on how the content is going to roll out for future videos. I'm not 100% sure how it's going to go. But yeah, if you guys have any gameplay that you want me to review, I'm actually going to stop reviewing games of people who are a minimum of Elite 3 and higher, because I feel like the general player who can't get a minimum of Elite 3 doesn't really learn anything from the videos, because when they see those videos, it's kind of like, well, you know, these guys are already good players. The stuff that they're doing wrong, they never do wrong, right? So if I can review some people's Gold 2 gameplay, I think that would be more ideal for the general consumer of the game, so that they know which cards would be good or bad. I disagree. inceptionxx has a 4-star weak foot 4, but he always chooses his right, and he is not as good on his left as stated. He would rather use his outside of the foot than left foot, so it wasn't the game at that point. Dude, that's the thing though. Suarez should be he's talking about one of the opportunities that Suarez should have scored in the game against a pro player. His Suarez should 100% be scoring there, man. That's completely down to a gameplay mechanic whether he scores it or not, because the game could have decided whether or not Suarez would have shot with his left foot better there. It literally decides, man. Trust me, I've taken those similar shots. I had a shot earlier today in a draft with a team with a foot birthday Ronaldo, and I did a proper driven shot, held B, tapped B, good amount of power, and he did a really bad amount of power, but he wasn't off balance or anything. I was like just slowly moving with him. I just had to do a regular shot, and the game decided I'm gonna do a poor shot right now. So 100% the game decides, man. There's some traits, don't get me wrong, that makes your players use their strong foot more than their weak foot and all that kind of stuff. But majority of the times, man, it's just the game screwing you over. The game is not at that stage like Fortnite or CSGO or League of Legends where you can really blame yourself when you're at a certain like point in FIFA. Like, here's the thing, right? In games like Fortnite, CSGO, if you put 1,000 hours into those games, you will notice a significant difference in your gameplay when you put 1,000 hours into the game. But if you hit Elite 3, some people just stay stuck there. Not because, and it's not for everyone, right? It really depends. Some people just get stuck at Elite 3 around that area because there's no room to improve. You know what I'm saying? Like, the difference of Elite 3 and Elite 1 or top 100 is nothing, because it's literally games where you lost by 1 goal that you could have scored 2 goals if the game decided that it would go into the back of the net. It's just that type of game. It's not like, I was playing Fortnite earlier today. Every single death that I got, I could have avoided, and I could have done better against the person I died against. 100%. I can see where I went wrong. The building I didn't do properly, all that kind of stuff. I know where I go wrong in those situations. And I feel like that's the point that FIFA needs to get at. And in all fairness, you know what you do wrong when you play in good gameplay. Like, you kind of get it, oh, I shouldn't have defended this way, because defending is actually good. You can move left and right easily. But when it's poor, it's just harder, right? So that's what I would say about that. I have a problem with overcommitting. I really don't know when to cut the passing lanes and when to apply pressure. Dude, it's very, very situational when you cut the passing lanes. It's very hard to guess when you should. Most of the times when you defend, you shouldn't aggressively try to get the ball back, because when you do that, you just leave more space in behind than you should, right? And then they just have so much space to work with attacking wise. That's why I tell people, when you're defending, always try your best, because gameplay makes a huge difference. Try your best to stay central based of a player you're defending against. So if the attacker is here, be central against him. So if he moves left or right, you don't overcommit to the left or right. The game will do that for you if the game realizes that the ball is close enough. Always stick to the middle unless you're 100% certain that you will get the ball if you spam B or something to get the ball back. So very, very depending on the situation. Asamoah is raw. Asamoah looks like a cool card. He's referring to the Foot birthday card. The Foot birthday card looks like a card that's definitely worth trying out. Do I think he would be that incredible? Not really, but I think he would definitely be worth trying out in a team for sure. Let's see what else we got here. If you missed out on Rooney, write a letter to EA to bring back his SBC. He is so strong, aggressive, and can score from any position. They're not going to bring back the Rooney. If you didn't get the Rooney SBC, it's too little too late. I highly doubt that for a Foot birthday promo, EA will bring back someone like Rooney back into the game. I highly doubt that that they would do anything like that. You keep mentioning first time dribble and that any chance you could do a video explaining how to do it most effectively. Oh, dude, the first time dribble is just the first time touch that I tell people. It's just holding L trigger and hoping that your player doesn't miscontrol it, right? So the reason why he's asking about it is because with Aguero. Aguero does it very inconsistently. Like, he doesn't really touch the ball straight at his feet. If you do a driven pass to someone and you're holding L trigger and they don't dribble it directly at their feet, they're not really worth having in your club, in my opinion. There's a lot of people that like using Aguero. I really, really just don't like using him at all, man. It's just not worth it, in my opinion. Let's see what else we got here. How can I send in my gameplay to get reviewed? I actually only play seasons and I just got into Division 2. Would I be eligible, or are you focusing on other content? The thing about gameplay from Divisions is that I don't know if people would be interested in Division 2 gameplay. And this is not like shots at you. I don't know if people would be interested in Division 2 gameplay. I don't know if they prefer, like, hear me out. It's not the Division 2 part. It's I think people would rather have a Foot Champs rank like Gold 2 or Gold 3 to Elite. You know what I'm saying? Like, not to Elite. Like, they would prefer to watch gameplay that is Gold 2, because that's like the average that people usually get in Foot Champs, is like around Gold 2. So I think that's like the main focus right there. That's the most important thing, is versatility in your team. I can do that with, yeah, 100%, dude. Like, versatility in your team is very important. What he's talking about, guys, is like when you're using a 4-1-2-1-2 or a 4-2-3-1 or a 4-3-3, and you can use any player in any position, right? Like, let's just say, for instance, if you're using the 4-3-3, in that video against that pro player, he had Patrick Vieira, Mateus, Gullit, Ronaldinho, all those guys, right? If you switch to a 4-2-3-1, you can put those players each in a good position for them to play to their full potential. If you use a 4-3-3, you can do the same thing. If you use a 4-3-2-1, you can do the same thing, right? It's a formation, and the players you have in a team, you can be super versatile with. You don't have to make any subs. You would just use the players that are starting off on full chemistry. So it's always nice to have those teams that you can just rotate the formation however you wish, right? I think that's very important when you play Foot Champs. So you don't necessarily always have to really grind out. But that's pretty much going to do it for the video today, guys. I hope you guys did enjoy it. If you guys did, please drop a thumbs up on it, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.